So on Sunday, May 18th, Joe Biden's office has put out a statement that he has very aggressive prostate cancer. Now, I'm very sorry to hear that, and I am praying for his recovery. With that being said, I would like to know, when was this found out? Okay, that is gonna be the million-dollar question. And the timing of this reveal is very interesting, to say the least. Joe Biden, of course, was running for re-election up until about last July or August, when he got booted by his own team and Kamala got placed in after a horrendous debate performance that left everyone thinking like, whoa, is this guy even awake? You know, what is this guy even doing? He can barely talk. I mean, the debate performance that he had against Trump, it was unbelievable. It was so bad that even the mainstream media that had been covering up for him time and time again could not even figure out a way to cover this up. And believe me, those guys are good. They know how to cover up some of the worst. This was such a terrible debate that they couldn't even cover it up. I want to know, did Joe Biden during that performance have his cancer diagnosis? Was his office aware? Were they choosing to run someone who was very terminally ill, while Dr. Jill Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, and everyone else around him were, saying, don't believe what your eyes and ears are telling you. This is a very healthy man. This is someone who is in full cognitive control and has his full abilities. Meanwhile, this guy could potentially be incredibly sick. So sick that, you wouldn't even want this person having the most powerful position on the planet. Okay, so we want to know, when did they get this diagnosis? Were they planning on having Joe Biden become president again and then putting in Kamala Harris that way? Putting in the first women president of the United States via proxy of Joe Biden winning against Trump, and them knowing he would be so sick that he would have to step down, but because he had such a terrible performance, they couldn't even go through with that plan. Now, CNN anchor Jake Tapper, or as some call him, Fake News Tapper, is set to release a book called Original Sin on Tuesday, May 20th, which is about this mass cover-up that was taking place during Biden's final year in office, where everyone was in on it. Everyone knew that, he wasn't fit enough to be running again or really still president, but the media and the Democrats all aligned to plot a massive cover-up of Joe Biden. Now, to be honest, that for sure was happening, and Jake Tapper isn't being fake Tapper when he expresses that. However, the irony is Jake Tapper 100% participated in all that. I mean, there is mountains of evidence of Jake Tapper, saying, oh, Joe Biden is sharp, he's the sharpest tack in the shed, and any criticism of this is simply making fun of his stutter and is uncalled for. There's that very famous clip of him trying to call out Laura Trump when Laura Trump was criticizing Joe Biden and the way he was speaking, saying, he's not cognitively there. And Jake Tapper tried to do a gotcha moment towards her where he was saying like, oh, how, Joe Biden has a stutter. Oh, it's simply a stutter. How does it feel to critique someone who's always had a lifelong stutter? Of course, it was total nonsense, and Laura Trump's assessment of Biden was completely accurate. But so this idea that Jake Tapper is going to, expose the cover-up. Hey man, you were part of it. Is it an autobiography? Okay, but back to what I was saying prior. The release of this information on a Sunday afternoon, evening, depending on where you are, just 2 days prior to this book coming out, where it can kind of suck away a lot of this attention that is going to be on Biden and his crew. And now they can take this narrative of, oh, Jake Tapper is critiquing and, coming out an old man who is sick with cancer and bedridden, and it kind of shifts a lot of the interest away from, you know, this big piece that's about to come out. And the thing is, in media, optics is so important, right? All of these people, all the people in the media, all the politicians are always thinking, okay, what optics can we communicate? How is this going to look? How is this going to be perceived? Because I just am having a serious hard time believing that Biden got his diagnosis within the last week. This is an 82-year-old man who I imagine is so regularly checked on with his health. He has access to all the best doctors in the world, all the best experts he can, you know, he can have whenever he'd like. And he's a very important person, obviously. He's the former president of the United States. I just have a serious hard time believing that this diagnosis just came now. And so to me, this might be one of the biggest scandals in US history, right? We had a president who was not well enough and shouldn't have been in the position he was in, and everyone around him was covering it up. And everyone around him not only was covering up when he was in office, they were trying to run him again. And if he hadn't have had that, you know, so terrible debate performance, then they completely would have gotten away with it. And now at this point, he probably, when he's like, you know, too sick for his own good, I imagine he's probably so incredibly bedridden there. They would have propped in Kamala Harris as the first woman president. This is just my speculation as to how things could have panned out. And let's talk about Joe Biden's wife, Jill Biden, or she demands everyone call her Dr. Jill Biden, I guess. Aren't you from the party of empathy and compassion? To me, it doesn't seem too compassionate to prop your husband up, your sick husband who has, you know, very terminal cancer and could, you know, leave this earth any day now, to force him to run because you want to stay in power. I mean, I feel like now we're talking potential charges of elder abuse, and not only on Joe Biden, but everyone who is, you know, in the whole camp, everyone who is in the whole circus. We need to round them up potentially and give them some sort of RICO charge. I mean, this is serious stuff. Now, one thing I want to touch on is, if Joe Biden was so sick and unwell and possibly even getting cancer treatments, then who the hell was, you know, running the show? Who the hell was in charge? Who was making decisions? Who was passing executive orders? Who was passing legislation? And are now these acts that Biden had passed, are they now voided? Because obviously, if you're so terminally ill and, you know, potentially going to die any day and, you know, are also having a mental decline, then, you know, you can't be making these decisions. Are any of the acts Biden signed, in particularly I'm speaking on his last year, are they voided now? But this is all on course for the DNC. What they do as a big part of their strategy is lie, 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 deny, 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 deflect, deflect, deflect. They have lost any ounce of credibility that they had at any point, because they were literally propping up an 80-something-year-old man while he was so terminally ill with cancer. So who was really running the show? Who was passing orders? Who was, you know, getting things on Biden's desk? Who was having, you know, the calls, the meetings with world leaders around the globe? Who was it? Was there a shadow government? Anyways, guys, these are my initial thoughts on the Joe Biden cancer diagnosis. I know this video is a little bit different than what I normally do, but I just wanted to share some thoughts. Please let me know, what do you think? Does any of this surprise you? Do you think it's a big nothing burger, or as they say? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate your viewership, and we got a lot of new videos coming out. Stay tuned.